You a good liar?
Yeah, you have to be.
Great liar.
Yeah.
What is the lie everyone should watch out that you'll be telling if you're using it?
I'm fine.
So confidence, there's been times when I've felt I'm in possession of it, and then you want to let go a little bit because it's only ever the moment and life guiding you. The wind is so at your back that you're like, wow, are you just, jumping over the waves and all that by yourself? And you're like, you bet I am. But there's a physics to the moment, man, moment, machine, whatever, and the wind's at your back. And then the wind does what the fucking wind does, and it changes. And if you're left there thinking, so I think it's great to be in full possession of what you would call supreme confidence, and then see what happens if you don't hold on to it so hard, because it's great, but it is a bit of an illusion, because like everything else, it's always changing. And every day, the reset button, the space bar gets pressed, and it's like, now what? Always know what your action is, because then when you come in the morning confident, or when you come in the morning and you can't hit your ass with both hands, you know what to do. And honestly, particularly in the last 15 years, when I started really taking martial arts seriously, half the stuff that I've been able to do right in my creative life are principles that I learned on the mat with my Sifu. Guard your center. Keep your eye on the lead elbow. Get to the blind side,
How often do you do that?
I started, I think I'm in the 15th or 16th year. Sifu was over the day before yesterday. So, a bunch of times a week. And if I'm working on something, or if he can make it to location, we'll have long stretches where we're doing it every day.
And that's why for the next year, and for the first time since 1974, the best and brightest men and women of nations and corporations the world over will pool their resources, share their collective vision to leave behind a brighter future. It's not about us. Therefore, what I'm saying, if I'm saying anything, is welcome back to the Stark Expo. And now, making a special guest appearance from the great beyond, to tell you what it's all about, please welcome my father, Howard. Actually, I asked Mel to present this award to me for a reason, because when I couldn't get sober, he told me not to give up hope, and he urged me to find my faith. And I couldn't get hired, so he cast me in the lead of a movie that was actually developed for him, and he kept a roof over my head, and he kept food on the table. And most importantly, he said that if I accepted responsibility for my wrongdoings, and if I embraced that part of my soul that was ugly, hugging the cactus, he calls it, he said that if I hugged the cactus long enough, I'd become a man of some humility, and that my life would take on a new meaning. And I did, and it worked. All he asked in return was that someday I help the next guy.
Great leadership requires a great ability to not do anything in some ways. In other words, to not try to make things happen, but to be conscious of what's occurring in the moment and be very flexible in where you go, but very rooted in the basis of the principle of what you're trying to do.
I've been around a lot of directors, and one thing that I'm always fascinated with is that they can project this aura of relaxation and confidence, and yet they're getting exactly what they want.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're able to do it in spite of what you would think it would take to get something done.
Smile. Though your heart is aching. Smile. Even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky. Don't forget mine. No amount of money ever bought a second of time.
Smart guy.
Did his best.
My worldview has to change if I want to really have a shot. If I'm not on my side for this going my way, why should anybody else be? I haven't really done it since, but for that one instant, I had to psych myself into that there was nobody else on earth had a chance. I was too prepared. I was too confident. I was driving like, a beat up, used old car there, and I was, I had the nicest suit I had to put on, but if you'd asked me how it arrived, I would have said in a convoy of Rolls Royces.
I asked Mel to present this award to me for a reason, because when I couldn't get sober, he told me not to give up hope, and he urged me to find my faith. It didn't have to be his or anyone else's, as long as it was rooted in forgiveness. And I couldn't get hired, so he cast me in the lead of a movie that was actually developed for him, and he kept a roof over my head, and he kept food on the table. And most importantly, he said that if I accepted responsibility for my wrongdoings, and if I embraced that part of my soul that was ugly, he said that if I hugged the cactus long enough, I'd become a man of some humility, and that my life would take on a new meaning. And I did, and it worked. All he asked in return was that someday I'd help the next guy.